Hey, Katie.
Hey, T.
There we go.
We're here.
We're
We're
back.
live. We're back. We're better than ever.
Well,
Are we? Never really are.
we're always a little bit worse than ever, honestly, when
Our
we do
glasses
these.
are always like at least halfway full.
Yes.
Some days 75, some days 80, some days 40,
Some days 10.
some days 10. I don't ever think we're full.
We're never 100%.
No. Maybe if you got me right after, picture it. Cicely, 1910. No, picture it. It is a beautiful sunny day. It is your perfect weather type day. It's bright.
75, no humidity.
That's you. It is, you have nothing to do that day. You have no work, no responsibilities, no bills, nothing to worry about. A fat bank account looking at you nice and pretty. You make yourself at least 1 or 2 cups of coffee, probably 2 or 3 if you're me. And then you're like, wow, what do I do for today? And if you're like, hey, Katie, I'm going to come over right now and we're going to record, I would 100% say that I'm 100% full.
Well, if anybody out there,
if anyone has $1 million they want to give me,
I was gonna say,
or pay off my student loans,
I was gonna say, I just want 1 mil. I'm not even being greedy.
No, same.
$1 million is not a lot.
It's not, but it would solve it wouldn't solve all my problems, but it would solve my burden of student debt.
Right. $1 million is obviously a lot of money. But it's not a lot of money in the grand scheme of things. Back when Who Wants to Be a Millionaire first started in the year 2000,
that was a big deal.
It was that's life-changing money. Not saying that if someone gave me $1 million, that it wouldn't change some aspects of my life, because you can pay off debt and whatever. But it's not life-changing. I would still have to go to my normal job every single day.
Yes.
But 25 years or 23 years ago, it was
look at the
more
cost of
life-changing.
living. I don't know if anyone else is a millennial out there. I'm assuming we have many, but I'm sure your parents also say to you too. Back in my day, we could, housing markets, yes, the interest rates were super high.
I bought my house and my first car, and I was only 20 years old.
Yeah, well, back then you didn't have this crazy credit card debt that a lot of people carry.
Right.
You didn't have most people have some sort of student debt, and then you also have people who, I think, especially depending upon the area where you live, especially East Coast, talking the tri-state area, you have a lot of entry level positions that pay dirt, but your cost of living is insane. I would say your entry level salary probably right now, definitely at least 5 years ago, I would say it was $35,000 to $45,000 in New Jersey.
I was going to say my first job out of college was 2011. In case you guys were wondering, I was making $38,000, and I was I'm making bank.
Yeah, but
then my student loans kicked in 6 months after graduation, and I was I can never move out.
No, but when you're okay, so let's go back to that time frame. I really don't know what rent was, but right now, most 1-bedroom apartments in an area closer to 45 minutes outside of New York City, you're looking at close to $2,000 just for a 1-bedroom.
Yeah.
So factor that into just what you're making. And if it's entry level, how are you doing that?
And if you're working in the city, obviously it's cheaper to live where we are near a train station, but then you also have to pay train.
The train from my hometown to the city for a month is over $400. Mm-hmm.
And then if you need to park at the station, if you don't live within walking distance, that's another $500.
Just for my job alone, when I used to commute back in the day, I was driving 45 to 50 minutes daily. I got lucky and didn't have to pay for parking. I had some kind of just a deal between me and the building because I'd been there for so long. But my tolls and gas cost every month was $1,100.
Yeah, around $1,100. Those turnpike tolls really get you, which I'm an ass because the turnpike from coming home from my job is always a lot less trafficy. So I take the turnpike. Yeah. But if I took the parkway, there's no toll on the way home.
But it's longer.
I used to
do that. The toll. I used to go the long way to work. So it would take me an hour to get to work with no tolls. I wouldn't even try to go home the no toll way.
No,
you
can't take the parkway home.
2 hours.
Yeah.
But the turnpike gets you there in 45. So I understand it's just a 15-minute difference, but 15 minutes when you're getting up at 5 a.m., that's a difference. I don't want to wake up at 4:45.
Yeah.
That was a big, it's there's, I don't know how we on this fucking topic, but $1 million.
We each just want $1 million. Honestly, we would split $1 million fair and square, right down the middle.
I would take it right down the middle. I would probably have about, I kid you not, I'd probably only have $150 left.
I was going to say, I think that I would give Katie I would do a 60-40 split. Like,
Thanks,
you
girl.
take 600, I take 400. Because my student loans are paid off. So I'm not going to be super greedy.
Mine
like,
are not.
Well,
you don't pay off $300,000.
No, I wouldn't have paid that if my grandma died. I was talking about death on this. And when we sold her house, my brother and I split that.
That's
nice. With my uncle. There was a whole. My parents were like, you and Andrew take the money and pay off your student loans. So we split it in half with my uncle, and my brother and I split our half in half. And I think we each got like $100K each, which like paid off what was like left of our loans, which was really nice.
Hey, a little bit.
But
helps.
yeah,
I fucked up and got 3 degrees at the most expensive schools known to mankind, so it's on me.
Yeah, luckily I got my master's for free, which was great through my job. So I only had to pay off undergrad, which was great. I went to a private school and it was very expensive, but I had a scholarship.
So did I, and it was still a fucking bitch.
Yeah, I think FDU when I was going was like $40K a year.
That was Georgia Court too.
And I had a $16,000 scholarship.
That's nice. I had 11.
Yeah.
Still fucking
and
expensive.
Now FDU is like $50K. Small private school in North Jersey that like 10 people go to. So it's great.
My poor kid's going to be like, you're going to go to community college or trade school, and then we'll figure out the fuck you want. Because you won't be like your mother.
I feel like unless you want to like do something like very specific.
But I think that's what happens with our again, we're millennials. I'm sure there are parents out there that went to college, like parents of ours. Like my parents didn't. My parents
none of my friends' parents went to.
I was like first generation kids. Like my parents were like, sure, you're smart. They're saying go to college.
My uncle went to college. He does finance. My other uncle went. He does accounting. My dad went for a semester, failed out because all he was doing was smoking weed with his girlfriend at the time.
That's cute.
Uncle Frank got a full-time job. That's how he met my mom. My mom wanted to go to college, but she didn't want to live home. She wanted to like go away. My grandma was like, absolutely not. Like old school Italian. Like you're gonna live under my roof. So my mom was like, fuck it. Then I don't want to go to college. So she got a full-time job. That's where she met my dad. So it was like, it's a good thing that he flunked out, I guess.
I guess it's a good thing.
To smoke weed with his girlfriend.
Cute. Like my dad's in a trade and so is my mom. So like,
yeah.
Like my dad's one brother went to college and that was it.
Yeah.
And like, literally that's, my aunt went for a little bit, like on my mom's side.
But it wasn't
it was different.
Like, and you could just get like an entry level. Like I honestly, like my dad was like a manager when he met my mom and he was like 21.
Yeah.
And like, he like was like managed her, my mom like really stalked him at work. Which is like neither here nor there, but it's actually probably like, it could be like a really cute like plot of a book.
Honestly, so could my parents.
So, okay.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah,
let's plot things out.
So this was the 80s and my dad being the Italian from New Jersey that he was, giant afro. And my mom,
like literally picture a giant afro.
Like, yeah. Like literally like this is, they got married in 1980. So they met in like the late 70s. Probably like 1978. So like this is coming off like disco era fucking like afro, okay? And they're at work and my mom sees him and she's probably like 18 or 19. Again, it was right out of high school. And she's like, who is this? Who's this Stone Cold Fox with that afro? And she was obsessed with him. And then her friend transferred departments and was like, Teresa, also my mom's name. Teresa, you're not going to believe it. They called him the fro. She's like, the fro is like my boss. And there was like some company party. I don't know. So my mom and her friend went. He was there. They chatted a little bit. He was leaving early. She was saying goodbye. My mom got in her car, followed him home to find out where he lived. And
I always loved Big T.
Yep. Followed him home to find out where he lived. And then the next Monday, so like this was Friday, Monday, she went up to him and she was like, hey, let's go on a date, basically. And he was like, yeah, sure. He was like, yeah, okay. My dad was a big airhead, like literally you
cutest man alive,
like everything right over his head. And he was like, yeah, like, okay, sure. Yeah. Like, where do you live? I'll pick you up. And she said, don't worry about it. I know where you live. I'll pick you up. And then 9 months later they were engaged and like a year later they were married. So it worked. And then they were married for like 32 years ago? 32 years?
Yeah, because I feel like, when did your parents get married?
1980.
Okay, so my parents were 19.
And he died in 2021, so maybe 31 years.
Did my parents get married in 1982? Like, also, I want to say 1985.
I was going to say, I feel like that doesn't,
Yeah, this makes sense. But both of our parents got married on our dad's birthdays.
Yes.
Which I think is kind of funny.
Yeah, so and
and in November, right?
Yeah, November 16th.
And mine's November 23rd.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
That is
I think
weird.
It's so weird. So my parents meet cute. Honestly, this could be like, there could be some like tension in this. Like, I'm going to build it out.
Oh, okay, well.
Oh, you're not done. Okay, sorry.
No, I am pretty much done, but I'm like, I forgot to do like book tropes. Obviously, workplace romance.
Yeah.
She falls first, he falls harder. So we found all of his old love notes that he used to leave her on her desk.
Shut up. It's amazing.
We were reading them. Like, he called her, I want to say he called, like, not Italian stallion. He was like his like Italian stallionette, like, or whatever.
Oh my God.
And like something else. And then they called each other. He would like leave her a love note every single day on her desk.
It's so cute.
Yeah.
It's so frank.
I know. And like she stalked him. I just think like that part is like really funny.
But that rings true. If anyone knows Teresa's mom, Teresa, it rings true.
It's all
girl goes gets what she wants. Like, she goes after it.
Yes. Okay, sorry. Now Devin.
Oh, I don't care. So my parents ended up growing up on the same exact street as each other. They met as children, but then my grandma was going through like a really rough divorce, took the kids and like fled.
This is Katie's mom's mom.
This is my mom's mom. They fled to Mattawan, which is like the next town over, so not far. But they got the hell out of there. Like, my mom like literally recounts like they had to quickly go home, pack like a couple bags, and they left. Like, my mom only has one photo album of like her youth. It's quite depressing. Anywho, so whatever. They're at my grandparents' house now. Like, my grandma got remarried to like who I consider my grandfather. He was the most amazing human being known to mankind, and my dad was like delivering oil at the time and like had to go to their house, didn't know who this was.
Yeah.
But like walked in and was like, oh my God, it's Debbie. And like they like just met up like that. He totally fell first and fell harder because it's Phil. And he's just a little angel. And the rest is history.
That is really cute.
I know, right?
It was like almost like second chance romance.
Right?
Almost.
Even though they were like in the fourth grade.
Childhood crushes.
Childhood friends.
Yeah. To adult
lovers.
You guys know I love that trope.
Right?
I love it.
Yeah. Kind of cool.
Kind of cute. I don't know how we started talking. Oh, $1 million.
$1 million.
Okay, moral of the story.
Just give us the million.
Give us the money, or kill one of your grandparents, get the inheritance, and then give us the money if you don't have it yourself.
We're kidding, obviously.
Okay, so now that you've listened to that, I have had like a very interesting, I want to call it a very interesting reading month in general.
Okay.
But the last like 2 weeks have been like, I've read things that are not typically things that I normally read.
Okay. Yeah, no, you're right. After what I was like, I had to think about this. So
I read Ruthless Creatures by J.T. Gessinger.
Okay.
It's the first book, I think, in like a interconnected standalone series, but it's a mafia romance. And honestly, like, it's rated as a 4.11 star rating out of like 50,000 like ratings.
Hot dang.
That's Goodreads.
Really good.
And I was like, I've had it downloaded for a while. It's on Kindle Unlimited if anybody's interesting. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll read it, because I was leaving for Asheville. And I was like, I don't want to like pick up anything that's like too in depth or anything that I'm really excited to read, because I was like, I'm only going to read a little bit here and there, because I was there with my sister-in-law and we had a really great time. And if you are ever going to Asheville, go to, I said it last week on the podcast, the name, but there's a bookstore that also sells champagne.
That's amazing.
Anyway, so I was like, I'm not going to be reading a lot. So like the day before leaving, I picked it up and I started it, and I was like, this book is like so bad, but like I was also like so intrigued.
Okay.
And I kind of like couldn't stop reading it. I finished it on the plane. So it's like, I was trying to explain it to Erica too, and I was like, it's like literally like so insane. So they're part of the Russian mafia. He goes by Cage. I don't even remember her fucking name.
Rings true.
Yeah, it rings true. And anyway, so she's like left. Okay, so her fiance, 5 years, I think it's 5. Yeah, 5 years earlier, her fiance goes missing.
Cute.
on their wedding day or on the day before their wedding, like their rehearsal dinner. He's like, I'm just going to go out for a little hike. She's like, okay, hon, like, be home because,
gotta get
married. And he never comes home.
Okay.
So now this is 5 years like later. She's been like mourning like the loss of like her future husband, whatever. And she like goes on dates with guys like, but she like hasn't like slept with anybody since then or hasn't really kissed anybody. She just like hasn't felt very connected. I think there was a point in time when she was like suicidal. Again, like it starts out like very dark like this, and then it kind of like takes a turn. Like she like meets Cage like one time, and like all of a sudden like her pussy's back on.
Interesting.
And and like she's like, old fiance who? And I was like, okay, like okay. I feel like he didn't really have to try very hard to like get in her pantaloons after we find out that she was like borderline suicidal, like for the past 5 years. Whatever. Anyway, she's at a bar with her friend. They're like, that man across the bar is fine. And her friend tries to hit on him, and he's like, literally not interested. Like, leave the fuck alone. And then, long story short, whatever. He is like he's the second in command to the mafia boss who's in jail, and he was sent to this town, which I think is like Lake Tahoe, to kill her because of her ex-fiance or dead fiance, whatever. Turns out that her ex-fiance, one, isn't dead, but two, he was the accountant for the mob, and he stole money from them, and he ran, and he was in witness protection because he gave them like all of this information to put the mob boss in jail. And they've been like, look, I think it's like $100 million that he stole from them, from like the Russian mob. So they've been like looking for him because they're like, we want our money back. Also, we want to kill him. They don't find him, they find her. So the mob boss is like, torture her, find out where the money is, kill her, and then like whatever.
Let's be done with it, yeah.
But he sees her once, and he's like, this is my bitch.
Oh, okay, I see.
So he pretends that he did kill her. Honestly, he does a again, he's supposed to be like the right hand man, like second in command, like this badass, like whatever. I fly a plane, like blah blah blah. He just like calls his mob boss guy. He's like, okay, yeah, no, she's dead. And then so the mafia is like in New York, but like she lives in Tahoe. So like every few days, or like not few days, that's not true. Like once a month, he's like flying back out to Tahoe to like spend like a week with her. And the mob boss is like, has other people like
watching him.
Yeah. So they find out that she's not dead. I'm like, he did a really bad job. Also, like her whole thing is like that, like she wants to like settle down and stuff. And then she like meets him, and he's like, I can never marry you. We can never have like, I can never give you this life. I might have to marry like somebody else one day. I would never sleep with them or be with them or whatever. But, like I have to do whatever like my boss tells me to do. Like if we need to make a connection with another family, I might have to like take a wife. And like, she's like mad about it, and they fight about it. But then like then they just fuck, and then she's like over it. So like I couldn't stop reading it, but it was like so bad.
It sounds quite terrible.
But like it has such good ratings, and I'm like, am I reading a different book? Like both the characters insufferable, but like at the same time I was enjoying myself.
I mean, I'm glad that you were enjoying yourself.
I didn't hate it.
Okay,
like things I never got over. Knox, which like I've talked about, my villain origin story. I found him to be completely insufferable. I hated him so much, and it like made me like kind of hate the book. Like this one, I like hated the characters, but I was like, I'm having a good time over here.
As long as you're having a good time.
So if you're like into like dark mafia romance, I think it's just like not normally my genre. So I was just like, I hate these people.
Yeah.
I liked her friend a lot, and her friend gets kidnapped at the end of the book. So like, it's gonna be like the next book. She's gonna fall in love with the guy who kidnapped her. I think I might read that because like she gives me Willa vibes.
I love a Willa.
Where she's just like kind of like a loudmouth, and like she's just like a free spirit and like all over the place.
Okay.
So I don't know. So that's one thing that I read.
Okay.
I have others, but I figure we'll go back and forth so that you guys don't have to hear me talk like a million.
Did I talk about The Long Game?
I think we talked about, we did, because we were saying how you listened.
Yes.
And that she sucked, but he was the best.
Yeah, you're right. What about Stone Princess?
I don't think we talked about them.
Okay, so I started listening a while. I was using Devney Perry books as like, not the Edens, the Clifton Forge series. Kind of as like filler audiobooks when I couldn't think of anything to listen to, or just wanted like a nice cleanse. Like to me, Devney Perry is just like a go-to. So I listened to, I'm going to do 2. Do you care? Because it kind of goes back and forth.
No, do 2 because I have 2 to talk about next.
So I listened to Stone Princess, which is book 3, and it follows Presley, who's she works at the garage. If you've read the books, like she has a connection to all these. You have to read all these, in my opinion. Like they're all interconnected, but like I guess you can read them as a standalone, but you would really understand the story so much better.
I think that's how the Edens are, though, too. Like they're interconnected standalones, but it's all like they're all like very like woven into the same story that I feel like you do need to read them.
And like for these people, like there's a lot of that. It's a biker gang, so like a lot of them do revolve around the garage that had the biker gang. Like it's a retired gang, but like obviously once you're in something like that, it never really kind of like goes away.
Maybe you're in.
Yeah, like maybe the gang is like a wrong term for this, but like because they seemed like very nice folk. But anywho, I think for especially for this, like maybe you can get away with it for the Edens, maybe, but like this one, I think you have to understand who Presley is to like get the vibe of like what this book is. So, like she's this cutie little girl working in a garage, ran away from her house. Her dad used to beat her, beats her mom, beats her twin sister. Her twin and her were supposed to sounds like an amazing guy. Her sister's boyfriend, who's kind of like a secret boyfriend in high school, was kind of helping them like buy a car, stash some cash, pack like bags on the side. Because one day these girls were going to sneak out of their house and like the 3 of them were going to flee. Okay. One twin was going to go to Montana. The other twin was going to go to California with her boyfriend. Okay. The one twin sister like completely froze when they were running. She was freaking out, was like, I have to go back home. Like, what about mom? Blah, 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 blah. Like the mom took the girls all got beat, but the mom was like, raped and beat, like just a whole different ballgame. Okay. So Presley was
sounds pretty terrible.
Presley was like, see you twin, I'm out. So her and the boyfriend leave. The boyfriend continues on. This is like her sister's boyfriend. Ends up like coming around to Montana and they start a relationship. Okay. She's supposed to get engaged. She's supposed to get married to him. He's a piece of shit. You kind of see it coming in the other books. He does not show up on their wedding day. Yes. So then like this one guy, he's like a movie star, comes to the town. He's going to be on set to film. This is why you need to read the other books. He's going to film a movie about the murder that took place that happens in books 1 and 2. Okay. Obviously, like they get together. She wants nothing to do with him, wants nothing to do with the family, end up like getting together. I enjoyed this book. I thought it was a really good, easy listen. There is one underlying subplot that I know is going to get resolved in the last book. Like there's animosity between this group and another group still. And it's going to obviously all come to a head in the last book. So, and I think it's 6 books? 5 books? Hold on. Please hold, because this is important.
I think it's 5.
It is 6.
Damn it.
Okay, so...
I did just ask for the series for Christmas, so...
Wait, what did I do? I did listen to Noble.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, so then I did Noble Prince, which is book 4.
Is this the one?
Luke and Scarlet. Wait.
Oh, wait, no.
I'm a little lost. Stone Princess... Which one is this about? Luke meets Scarlet was the only time he regretted putting chief of police. Okay. So then this like is about her sister. I find them to be like solid 3.5 star books. Okay. I don't think they're like above a 4. That's just my opinion. The twin ends up coming back into town. There's a lot. We're not going to sit here and unpack this. We're going to talk about Fallen Jester though.
Okay, but I just need to put a disclaimer. If Mary, if you're listening, skip ahead about 3 minutes.
I'm not. No. Okay. Just hear me out. One, I cannot stand a character so set in their ways that they want to change, but like just refuse to change. I don't know. So one, this is I find probably the slowest book in my opinion. It's the last book before I think everything's going to come to a head. Yeah. So obviously there's going to be a little bit of a lull with the plot. This does have a pregnancy trope. They like have a one night stand type of thing. She ends up getting pregnant.
Must be nice for it to be that easy.
Right? Seriously. I have no qualms about this pregnancy or like the trope in general.
We like the pregnancy trope.
I like the pregnancy trope. I really don't mind it. So my issue lies with like the main character, the male main character. He's a guy who like doesn't think he's worthy of like a relationship or just kind of like anything, which is sad. Don't get me wrong. But he's this like, let me just spell it out. He moves this girl into his house so she has a place to live. Like he wanted at first nothing to do with her, nothing to do with the baby. He was like, please leave or I'm going to leave. Like one of us has to leave. I can't be here. I can't be the father to this child because of like how bad my father was to me. I can understand and we can unpack that baggage together in a book. I'm totally cool with that. He wants his bachelor life, like, and he's a playboy. So the entire time that she's in his house, because like he wants to have a roof over her head, and her parents are like, please come back home with us, we'll take care of you. She's like, no, we're trying to make this work. I found it like very easy for them to get back together and start fucking again. Number one, like, which is like kind of okay, but also like you both had like issues with each other. Mostly like she had issues with him. It just was like a too easy.
Also, and if she has like parents like that she can live with, like then honestly, like why wouldn't you just live there?
And she does have a realization at one point, like fuck this, I'm gonna go back home. So like when she says that to him, he's like, well, why are you gonna leave? And she's like, dude, you're never home. Like you go out every single night to the bars. He's not getting with girls, but he's out every single night because he's trying to give her space, quote unquote space. So like one of the girls from the past books is kind of like, dude, you're fucking stupid. Like basically sums it all up. And then so they obviously get together. They're having sex. Everything's great. Blah 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 blah. He's staying home. He's not going out. Wonderful. Yay! All of a sudden he's like, you know what? One of my friends is going out to the bar. I'm gonna go too. Which shocks the female main character. Which like I can kind of get, but also like he does need to have friends. He can't just like never go out. He's allowed to go out. So he goes out, and the entire time he's driving there, it's like an internal monologue of how he shouldn't be on the road. He shouldn't be going there. He shouldn't be doing this. Like, he should turn back now. He should turn back now. He keeps going to the bar. One drink turns into like, I gotta go home. Turns into 2 drinks and just keeps going. Just keeps spiraling. Like every time he thinks to leave, like someone's pulling into a conversation, he just stays. I was getting frustrated because I'm like, dude, just like, what the fuck? Like, just leave.
Like really not that hard. Just be like,
no, I'm going home.
Or to also just be like, I'm not having another drink. I have to get home.
And this seems like a guy who you're so headstrong and stubborn in your ways. Like you kind of also tend to have like a little bit more of a voice when you're like, no means no. Like when you say the word no, it holds some ground.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden he like he's sitting at a bar. This girl settles up next to him. Shots are light out in front of him. He's like, fuck it, I'll take a shot with this girl. Like she ends up like kissing him. He throws the shot back and like all of a sudden is like trying to walk out because like now I need to like get an Uber or something home, and he passes out. I had to actually DNF this book because the next scene is like him waking up in this girl's bed, and he's like, what did I fucking do? Obviously he probably did not sleep with her. I'm gonna like not actually I spoiled it. He does not sleep with her. I don't know what like I'm sure she's from like the opposite gang. Again, we're building up to this like breaking point, but I found him so insufferable that I was like, this poor girl is like 8 months pregnant at home, probably worried sick that you're out doing things that you shouldn't do. Shocker, you are. Like whether it's like sleeping with this girl or not, but like you put yourself in a position to like unfortunately get drugged, and then all of your friends left you. You woke up in some girl's bed naked. Like, like put 2 and 2 together. Of course she's going to flip out. So like, I couldn't even like get myself to continue on. Like the writing was amazing. The audio was amazing, but like he was insufferable. I couldn't do it.
That's how I felt about Knox, but I persevered through things we never got over.
I can't persevere through. Like, I'm sure everything's like happy-dory. Like this girl just deserves the world. Like I don't like Luke. But I have heard from Mary at Roses I Read that Tin Queen, the last book in the series, is her favorite Devney Perry book of like all the Devney Perry books.
Yeah.
Which says something because like the Edens are like my heart and joy. And like the Birthday List, Letters to Molly, amazing books.
Yeah.
And this is at no shade at all to Devney Perry because like she will forever be like a go-to author for me.
Yeah,
and an auto-buy read. Like
listen.
I just couldn't connect to the male main character.
You don't have, just because you like an author or like a series, I think I said this last week about Iron Flame too. You don't have to love every single book in a series or every single book an author puts out. Like, you don't have to. It's okay. I love SJM. I love Throne of Glass. I rate some of those books are rated 3 stars. Yeah. 3.5.
And like, honestly, I don't even think I rated this. Like, because you know what? I'm not going to be mean. I'm not going to be hurtful because there's no point to. Like, you don't need to be, just because you like something doesn't mean you also need to put out negative like reviews. I think there's just also just like a way to politely say like, this just wasn't my cup of tea.
Yeah. I mean, there's like sometimes.
Like, so you could spell some things out, maybe why you didn't like it. I just don't think you need to bash the author or the book.
Right. I mean, again, teach their own. I think if it's on Goodreads, it's fine. Like, I would don't tag the author. Like, tag an author in a bad review.
Agreed.
Which you would think would be common sense, but a lot of people lack that.
But yeah, like this was just one book I couldn't like connect with really. I was curious to see, I'm sure, again, I know there's a happy ending and like terrific if you loved it. You can yell at me if you want to. I just could not.
Everyone DM Katie, tell her how bad her opinions are. I can't say anything because I haven't read any of these yet. I am hoping that
you will push through it. I know you'll push through it. You'll probably like, Katie, shut the fuck up.
Also, I do think that there is a big difference between listening to a book and reading 100%. It. And like maybe the way that I interpret him while reading it is going to be different than like the way that the narrator is like reading the character. So I don't know, but
yeah, like my whole outlook could completely change if I picked up the book and read it instead.
If I get these for Christmas, I'm assuming by February I'll probably have read that one. Yeah. And then we can circle back.
Perfect. Continue on.
Okay, so after the Mafia romance, I was like, what's another like bad book that I have already downloaded on my Kindle that I can like read really easily? So I had this book downloaded, again, Kindle Unlimited if anybody's interested, Off Limits, which is book 1 in the Corrupt Cowboys series by Emma Creed. This one's rated 3.97.
Okay.
So again,
decently rated.
For a romance book, like these are like good ratings. Yeah. And it's a dark cowboy romance. It's not like listen, I was so confused. Okay, this book is literally 226 pages.
Okay.
I don't know if I missed some plot points or if I'm stupid, maybe. Any of those things could be true. Both of them can be true at the same time. I had no idea what state they were in until like the second book.
Really?
Okay, so there's going to be, I believe, 6 books in the series. So there's 3 brothers. I assume that we'll get 1 book or 2 books per brother. That's what it is. So I read the first 2, which is, I think, what the fuck is this guy's name? This one, I can't remember his name. I hated it. Listen, okay. I think his name was Graham. I didn't even write his name in my review. What is his name? Something with a G. We're just going to say his name's Graham. Graham sounds like what I think his name is. And Maisie is the female main character. Okay. So Graham, dad, is the owner of the ranch.
Okay.
And, okay, so the grandfather started the ranch. And they owned like all this land. Like they were like the people. They were like the family. Mm-hmm. The Copper Ranch.
Question mark.
Anyway, the grandfather, like there is like an overarching plot that's running through these stories. So we still don't know like what led to it, but the grandfather hangs himself.
Oh, that's sad.
Loses like a chunk of land, like gives it to like a rival ranch owner, and then hangs himself. And when that happens, Graham dad takes over. But when the grandfather was running it, he was running it like very like illegally. Like if you fuck with our cattle, we're gonna come kill you.
Gotcha.
And the dad's like, I'm gonna do everything the legal way. Yeah. And Graham is like, this ain't working because now the other ranch is coming in and they're like the big ranch in town, and the Copper Ranch is like they are squandering, like they are like losing money, whatever. So Graham and his brothers are like, we're gonna have to start doing illegal things again, because nobody's gonna take us seriously unless we start murdering people, or they're gonna keep trying to steal our cattle.
Okay.
Anyway, so daddy rancher, he decides that he's going to get married. So they don't say why. Like at first you think that the mom died. Then you find out that the mom just like randomly like ran away one day. She's like was like, I'm out, and like left.
Okay.
And then you find out that they had a younger sister who also allegedly killed herself.
Okay.
Like, and like they're not very good. I didn't know the ages of any of these people at first. I didn't know. Like they were like the time frame. This like happened like 2 years prior. At first I was like, oh, like whatever. You know what? Anyway, it doesn't matter. So the daddy ranch guy, he somehow meets this woman from LA, and apparently, according to Maisie, the daughter, her mom, like this is like her like 5th marriage. All she's ever doing is like running around. Like every husband she gets like is like richer and like richer than like the next. So she's like, social climbing. So they get married. They move to the ranch. So she shows up. Maisie just graduated high school. So this was supposed to be like her summer, like her like last summer with her friends before she goes to art school, like in LA. And now she's moving to this ranch, which I think is in Wyoming.
Okay.
At first I thought it was in Ohio because they kept like being like, oh, in Columbus, like, and like Columbus
Ohio.
is like it's a well-known enough city that I'm like, if the fact that they're like, oh, the rodeo in Columbus, and I was like, I don't think that they're doing rodeos in Columbus, but
sure, we can use it for a story. Yeah. Okay.
And I was like, I don't know about any ranches in Ohio, but again, like, I don't know anything about Ohio. I've been to Cincinnati, and I'm telling you, there ain't no rodeos there. Anyway, I don't know if you're from Ohio, can you just let me know if you guys have a rodeo in Columbus? Are you doing Columbus, Wyoming?
Yeah, I'm just seeing if there's like any.
I don't know. Listen, it doesn't matter where they are. I was getting really hung up on it. Okay, so Maisie shows up, and there's 3 brothers. So maybe Graham's the youngest brother. No, Wade. Wade is the youngest brother. He's an angel. Then there's the middle brother. I don't remember his name, but we're gonna call him Tate. And then there's the older brother, Graham.
There is no Columbus, Wyoming.
Okay, so maybe it's not Wyoming.
There's a Columbus, Wisconsin.
That doesn't sound right.
It doesn't sound right at all.
Also, wherever they were, I think he drove to Vegas at one point. So what's near Nevada?
What the fuck?
Kenny's looking at it.
That doesn't make sense.
Okay.
That's far as fuck. Continue.
Maybe they were in Utah. Denver. No, he drives to Denver. He drives to Denver. Sorry, not Las Vegas. So they were definitely in Wyoming.
There's no Columbus, Wyoming.
Well, in the book there is.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry, where was I? Okay, so Wade is the youngest brother. Then there's the middle brother that I'm going to call Tate. And then there's the oldest brother that I'm going to call Graham. Graham is 32. Graham and Maisie take like one look at each other, and he's like, I gotta have her.
So 19 and 32.
18.
18 and 32. Okay.
And 32. Literally just graduated high school, 18. Like, literally this girl has...
That's like basically Tom's 34. So like about to 35. So like that's like him dating like an 18-year-old.
Can you imagine that? No, that's weird. Which like, I know a lot of people like age gap, but I have a very like big issue with like, I know that she's of legal age. I would have been okay if she was like 21 22. And he was like 35. But like something about like right out of high school is so gross to me.
Yeah, because like my grandparents are 16 years apart. So in reality, like my grandma was born and my grandpa was 16. But they didn't meet until my grandma, I think, was like, I want to say in her mid to late 30s and 20s.
Yeah, again, that's different.
Yeah.
If you can't legally buy alcohol, you shouldn't be dating a 30-year-old.
I agree.
Also, what do you have in common?
Let's look this up.
Right out of high school, what do you have in common with a man who is working and living on a ranch, murdering people for stealing his cattle? Literally nothing. They're both obviously very hot. So there's like an instant kind of like attraction, but the whole book, he's like, I can't have her. And and that's the dialogue. Like a lot of dialogue is very like Midwestern like slang. I can't have her. Like, so I'm not making fun of anybody's accents. I just can't do accents very well. But you know what I mean? Like, okay. So anyway, so there's like this like overarching like plot, and then she becomes best friends with like the younger brother, and like literally anytime like any guy is like flirting with her, showing her interest, like Graham comes and like beats them up. But then he like won't do anything about it. And then like she's like, oh, he obviously really likes me, and she's like trying to like seduce him like by like trying to get in the shower, like his bed. But like, okay, I think he like fingers her and like that's it. She's also a virgin.
Okay.
So anyway, the end of the book, the dad dies.
Because the mom killed him?
I don't think we know who killed. I don't remember. It was.
What did you rate this?
Like 3. No, I'll read you my review in a second. So the dad. Okay, so somebody breaks into the house, and the dad has a heart attack and he dies. And they break into the house because they steal a file that has something to do with like an offshore like bank account. Which again, like I don't remember this plot point being like full circle. Like what was what's in the bank.
I thought nothing.
Then so then like the rival family, the Masons, I think, something with an M. The son, like one of the sons, is married to
the dead sister. That's not dead.
No.
To the mom that ran away.
No.
Come on, Teresa.
Okay. So the middle brother that I'm calling Tate because I can't remember his name. Tate's like high school sweetheart is okay. I read 2 books.
I know. anyone else confused?
I'm so confused trying to say. Okay. So, because they're setting up like the other books.
Yeah.
So anyway, so the end of the first book ends. Graham is like, Maisie, get the fuck away from me. And she like goes to college.
Okay.
And then like 2 years later, 3 years later, maybe 2 years later, doesn't fucking
Something
matter.
Like that.
Her mom dies. Her mom's killed. So she has to go back to the ranch for the funeral. And that's where she finally sees Graham again. And Graham's like, this is my girl. And he's like, now that she's here, I'm never going to let her go.
Okay.
And she, like literally within like 3 days, like
they're back.
She's like, you're my boyfriend. I'm in love with you. Like, we're going to get married. Literally, they are fucking, she loses her virginity. They're fucking no protection. He's like, I'm going to impregnate you. After like 2 weeks, they go to the courthouse to get married. End of the book, she's pregnant with triplets. Okay. Ridiculous. The rival family, the brother, his like high school sweetheart is married to their son. And the whole thing is like, why did she marry him?
Yeah.
So you find out that she was in a car accident. She was like drunk driving. Her best friend died. The father of the other ranch found her at the scene and was like, I'm not gonna tell anybody that you were the one driving. We'll say that it was her. You're gonna leave with me. Like, we'll cover it up. And then he was like,
but you got to do this now.
Eventually I'll need a favor from you.
Yeah.
And the favor was, now you have to marry my son.
Gotcha.
So in the second book, she tries to like leave because apparently like, whatever. She's like gonna like run away. She gets killed.
So a lot of people
are dying. Wade, the youngest brother, he's in love with Leia, who is the mayor's daughter. In the first book, Leia is drugged at a party by this guy. The guy got the roofies from this guy, Eric. Eric is another son of the rival ranch owner. His name's Eric, I think. Eric is a vet, so he like was like giving like horse tranks, I guess, like selling them to people. And Wade is in love with Leia, and Wade knows.
Wait, hold on, I was confused.
Yes, Wade knows that Eric is the one who sold the drugs to this random guy who drugged Leia, whatever. Leia and Wade are also like best friends. And in the second book, Leia, who also like 21 maybe, engaged to be married to Eric.
Did anything happen to Leia when she was drugged?
No, because Maisie was there. Maisie called Wade. Wade came, beat the guy up, and then he was like, "Who sold you the drugs?" And he was like, Eric. I don't fucking know any of their names. All these names are made up. Wade is the only name that is like 100% true. And I think Leia and Maisie definitely Wade. Leia up in the air. Graham and Tate also up in the air. Anyway, I honestly have no idea what is going on in these books. Then at the end of the book, so first of all, now Tate is super depressed because the girl he loved gets murdered in the woods. Then the mom randomly shows up at the end. They also find out that the sister, when she died, was pregnant. So they're like, did she jump or did someone kill her?
Oh my God.
And also, like, Wade knows that Eric basically, and like doesn't tell this girl. He's just gonna like let her marry this guy.
Yeah.
Like I honestly, whoever's reading these books, like literally like people are getting them like 5 stars. What? It's so bad. I gave it 3 stars, which I think was like really honestly like
generous.
Yeah. My review is this book was so bad, but like kind of in a good way. It was really corny and really cringy, but it was quick and fun. I liked the concept. It's kind of like a cowboy mafia. It had a lot of tension, but it felt really icky with her age, which, yeah. And then I picked up the second one because I just need to find out how these two idiots get themselves together. Like, and that's kind of where I was at with those.
Wow. My head hurts.
If anybody could follow along with what I just said,
please let us know.
Honestly, it doesn't help that I don't know the names of the characters.
I mean, names you can make up names and it doesn't. I think that just sounds like a crazy, weird plot.
The next 2 books I'm going to talk about, though, are really good. So
okay. Yeah, good ones. Oh, I have to read this one still. That's on my list. So I ended up reading Do Your Worst, which Teresa got to read as an arc a few months back.
Yeah.
It is, I wouldn't call it like a witchy book, but there is a curse that they have to break, which like I'm down for a quest for it's questy.
It's questy.
So, like, that's kind of, I really liked the quest premise. Like, this is a curse breaker who came into town, like this is like her first big job, and I do like that you get to actually follow her and like watch her. I don't want to call them like witchy senses, but like whatever her family possesses, it gets passed down to like the females. She has it. She's basically walks into like this castle where this archaeologist who's like trying to remake a name for himself after like a really bad incident that happened in the past, trying to like restore his reputation, if you will. Like she walks into this place, he hasn't been able to find something in months, and she's just like, my spidey senses are going off, and here it is.
Yeah.
And then she's super headstrong. I really liked her. I think if he was
a little dry.
He was a little dry, and like I think he tried to give golden retriever vibes, but didn't achieve them. However, I do think for this story, if he was like a headstrong individual, it would have just been so much hotter, because like the smutty scenes were good scenes, but because he was so like bleh, that they kind of, I think, fell short.
Like I think that like she wanted him to be headstrong, but then he was also like very like insecure.
Yes.
Because of like what like happened.
So essentially what happened was he was on a dig with his brother. His dad's like this world-renowned archaeologist, but came from nothing. Like finally made a name for himself and is like baking in like the money and the glory. And the fame.
Brother,
So the brother and him, once he got out of college, his brother was a bit older. He joined him on a dig, and his brother essentially like fabricated what I don't like. There was like ground penetrating radar, like an image that he fudged an image. It came to fruition that like this is what happened. So essentially, like both kids were shunned, and the father, I don't want to say disowned them, but like.
No, he's still in contact.
He's still in
with
contact,
father,
but like he's very disappointed, and like more so in the younger one than the one who actually like he like cut the other one off. Like whatever. So the dad helps the youngest son, the guy who the male main character is about, get a job at this like this one place, like try to find some artifacts. Basically, he's literally just trying to like remake a name and like kind of restore his reputation a smidge. Riley, his name is,
and he's like, I can't have
Riley.
Yeah,
and he was like, I can't have some like curse breaker, fake fraud person coming in on my territory. I don't need this kind of publicity. Like, I need to just be able to find some artifacts, do my due diligence, and go home and like restore my name.
Yeah,
and she's like, fuck you, dude. I know what I'm doing. I'm legit.
Yeah,
whatever. Like they have like an instant connection. I don't want to call it insta love. It's just like an instant like, I think you're hot.
Yeah, they meet at like a pub, so they don't know who each other are, and they're like,
"You're hot."
Immediately, like
attracted
like, and they're like bantering.
Yeah,
and there's, like,
it's so
it's
good,
really good. And then the next day,
like she shows up, he's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, like she hears him like talking shit.
Yeah,
and then she like walks in.
He tries to get her fired even before she arrives on scene, and then she's like, "You know what? I'm gonna stick it to you. And I'm gonna show you." I will say there's one thing that like didn't get wrapped up, like when they're arguing in the house. She goes to like prove that she isn't some phony by like going to the spot that she's being drawn to and nothing's there, which I'm like, okay, that could have happened. But like after they start to actually figure out what the curse wanted to have happened, I wish they like went back to the spot to like refind.
Yeah.
But it's very questy. I thought it was a good read. I wish he was, you wanted to have some insecure moments, totally fine. But I wish he was like a wall and like you had to like knock him down a few pegs to like kind of see the insecurities.
Yeah.
And was headstrong because of those insecurities. I think that would have made the book a bit better in my opinion. I still gave it a 3.5. It was fun.
It was fun.
I had a good time at reading it. And again, like those smutty scenes were
so the author
Rosie
Danon, she wrote writes, The Roommate, which is like one of my favorite like books, and it's the smut in that is so good. But I love The Roommate. I want to reread it. It's about he is a like adult entertain, like he's an adult entertaining star. He's a porn star. And she is going to like live like with like the boy who's like she's been in love with, like one of her like best friend. And he's like, oh, actually, I am renting my room out to this guy from Craigslist. I'm going on tour with my band for the summer. And she's very Connecticut, like very like waspy.
Okay.
And then she's like with this guy who's like super hot. And her aunt, I think, is like, that's adult film star Josh Darling. Ooh. And so she is watching one of his like his videos, and he comes in, and then they're like, they come up with like a business plan that is like porn for women.
Okay.
And like it's almost like instructional on like how he makes these like these instructional videos, to like show men like how to like please like their wives and girlfriends.
Okay.
But they fall in love.
It's cute.
But it's really cute. And the smut's obviously amazing.
Yeah, no, she writes a really good smutty scene.
Yes, no, she really does. And Josh Darling is so hot. Like, I love him. Anyway.
We'll go one-on-one now?
Yeah. Okay. I read Mixed Signals by B.K. Borson. That's Love Light Farms book 3. So Love Light Farms is the first one. And then the second one, In the Weeds, and then Mixed Signals. So Love Light Farms is still my all-time fave. Like, Luca and Stella, they cannot be beat. They cannot be topped.
Agreed.
I do think that I've heard people say that Mixed Signals is their favorite.
Okay.
I think that maybe it's my least favorite.
Really? Wow.
Nobody will ever top Luca.
I agree.
I forget his name from the second book.
Don't even
Wes?
ask. Maybe, I don't know.
I love Caleb. And I like Layla. I just didn't, the plot like was just very like stupid.
Okay.
So Caleb is like the cop in the yeah, but he's like fired. They're like, you're too nice. He's too nice. He's like never like writing anybody up. So right now he's like working. He's like gonna become a teacher. He's like teaching Spanish class summer school, and Layla is the baker who like is the part owner on Love Light, and she's out on a really bad date, like 30 minutes like out of town, and he's at the same bar like with his brother and like his whole family for his brother's birthday. And his brother, he owns the bookstore. Like you meet him in like the other books. And he's like best friends with Stella's brother, Charlie. So like there's just like mayhem. They're all wearing like Hawaiian shirts and they're drinking. Right. Caleb isn't drinking. And because of like her bad date, her date leaves her at the bar, and Caleb's like, I will drive you home. And in the car they're talking, and she's like, I just keep going out with all these like losers, blah, blah. And he's like, I go out with girls who like, I like want to give them like so much, and I'm like always too much for them. So they're like, what? He's like, why don't we like date each other? And like, you can like grade me on like what like I'm doing wrong with girls. And like, I can show you what it feels like to be treated like how you should be treated. But like, so they agree to this. They're like, okay, like 1 month of this like dating. But like, why? I don't know. Like the whole
I get the fake dating trope to show each other. Like, I wish there was like a reason. Like
like
she wants some guy in town, or he wants some girl in town.
Yeah,
like and they want to make sure that they're good enough for them or something. And like he keeps like
planning these like dates, and like things are going wrong, but she's having so much fun, and she's like, no, like you're amazing at dating. And like then they start sleeping together, and they have all this chemistry, and like everything is like going so well. And the month is coming up, and he's like, hey, the month is coming up. Like, I want to keep dating you, but like for real.
Yeah.
And like, she was like almost like hoping that he would never bring it up, because now that he has, she like breaks up with him. And That's then weird. Like she breaks up with him, and they're like broke. And he's like, I'm going to keep showing up. Like his whole thing was like every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, he shows up, he buys a croissant and a coffee. That's cute. He's always like done this. So he keeps doing it. But like, and then like eventually like she's like, oh yeah, I guess like I love him, and like I need to like stop like
being an asshole.
Being an asshole. I just didn't like that.
Yeah. Like what was the reason for breaking up with him?
Like so basically it's like she thinks like that she like doesn't like, it's like a mental thing. Like she doesn't think that she deserves to be treated well, I guess. Okay. And like she's afraid. She kept going, like the whole thing was like, you keep going out with these like losers because you know that none of them will break your heart.
That's true.
But like if you give yourself to Caleb, like he has like, you know, and Stella is like, you have to trust him not to. Like I was so afraid with Luca, and like now look at us.
Okay.
So like whatever. There's like she does this big like declaration, and he's like, yeah, I love you, but I just feel like he didn't deserve it. Like he was like so good. But again, like there was no issue until like the end. Like the entire book was you're just like reading like a happy story, like nothing is happening.
Okay.
So like I liked it. I gave it 4 stars, but
yeah, like there was nothing else.
There was like they were just going on dates, having a good time, fucking, and then like at the end there was like, oh whatever. Where I feel like I don't know, I loved like Love Light because like it was like they like each other, but like they like aren't you know, there was like the back and forth, like the tension. And I just felt like with them it was just like, oh, like we're going on all these great dates, like everything is going well. Yeah, there was like no problem. until there was a problem, which
until she made the problem.
Yeah, like I needed a little bit more.
Yeah, a little substance.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm still gonna listen to it or read
it.
No,
like I mean, I still give it 4 stars. I'm just saying, compared to like the other two, I think I was going with higher hopes because everyone was like, "This is my favorite of the series," and I was like, "This is, I think, maybe my least favorite." I loved Caleb, and I really like Layla. I just didn't love the plot of the story,
or the lack thereof, if you will. So I was backstory. Last October, I was in Paris, couldn't sleep. I found this like fall romance book called A Pumpkin in a Patch by Jennifer Peel. Read it in one night. I was fucking giddy. Like I couldn't put this down. Yeah. They're short. They're like 260 pages to 280 pages max. Read it in a night, whatever. So I was like, okay, this author is great. I'm just going to preface this. She's closed door, but like I personally did not miss that there was no spice. I thought her story was that cute that I didn't need it. Yeah. So flash forward, she gave me a signed copy of her newest book called My Xmas Emergency. I do want to go back. She's been around. So I do want to go back and read some of the Holiday X-Files. I feel like they have cameos. Like when I was reading this story, I was like, oh my God, this is the girl from the other book. Like they popped up. You don't need to read it, but I was like, but if you have read it, it's like a cute little Easter egg. Yeah. So I was like, as I was reading on, there was another part, and I was like, I wonder if this is like another couple from another book. So it's Second Chance. This girl is born on what you can call like the wrong side of the lake. Just, I would say, middle to lower class side, whereas the other side of the lake is your high society people, your money people. So she falls in love with this guy from the other side of the lake, and she's a little bit of like a she knows how to stir a pot. Like but like in a good way. Like she stands up for herself. She stands up for like other people. Like she's like your ultimate hype girl and guardian angel. Like there's a bunch of puppies that were not being taken care of correctly at a mill, and like she ended up breaking in like to steal them all, and then like giving them away to great people. Like she's like a little Peter Pan. Not a little Peter Pan. That. A Robin Hood, if you will. Without killing people. But like his parents never liked her. She wasn't a great fit. Ironically, like they met because her sister got knocked up by his brother. Okay. So you come to find out that this guy was basically just like, you're too much for me. Like I can't be with you. Like he said some, like, I wouldn't call it like super hurtful, but like it hurt her. So she's like, all right, fuck you, bye. So she left, became a doctor. Unfortunately, her sister, you could tell her relationship was terrible with the husband. They had a daughter, obviously. He ends up having like this huge drug issue. It's not really brought up too much, but drug and alcohol issues, definitely sleeping with other women. He passes away. So she comes back from the funeral. She wears like a pink elf costume to this funeral. She's like, big old fuck you. Like you're a joke, whatever. Like these people try to sweep everything underneath the rug, but like, this poor daughter like has suffered immensely. So has my sister. So she's very close with her niece. She comes back to essentially like step in as a mom to this one girl. She's like, I will go wherever Quinn goes. If Quinn goes away to college, I'm going away where she is. Like my job will go wherever this girl takes me. I just never wanted to come back to Aspen Lake, but she's back. So her job is essentially on the line at the hospital, as is her godmother's, who's like the board of whatever at the hospital. Because, shocking, these people that she was in love with their son, they sit on the board of whatever. She's also been like completely exiled from her grandparents because her mom also married someone from the wrong side of the lake, but both of her parents have passed away. Yeah. Important to know for the grandparents. So of course, like this guy that she was in love with is also her niece's uncle. Just on like opposite sides. Like the niece has like in her mind that she's going to create like this perfect family for Christmas. Cause like there's been a lot of love lost in the family. She's never like taken care of. She's very miserable. So she's like destined to bring these two back together. Yeah. So like the whole story is like her just like trying to plot for them to see each other. But like the uncle's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm here for it. Like I fucked up once. I got married to a piece of shit who slept with my brother. Like I didn't need her. I need this woman back in my life. So he just like keeps showing up. Like he goes to like the hospital to be like examined for things for no reason. Like after getting stitches, like, and then he left them in too long on purpose to go back. Like she comes to find out he has like a tattoo for her, which we love a surprise tattoo moment. I
love a surprise tattoo moment.
I just thought it was like such a fucking cute story. Again, giddy with excitement. Like her grandparents end up wanting a relationship and helping out in the end. I thought there was like, it just moved perfectly with pace. I didn't miss the smut. I just thought like the two of them were awesome. Yeah. So like there's someone else in the story who helps her like find out some things about the guy that like her sister started to sleep with. So I was messaging the author, I was like, please tell me that like this like secret CIA agent that we have no idea what she does is the next book, and she is. So I just feel like it's a good. You could read it for Christmas because it's around Christmas time, but like I just feel like it's a good winter read in my opinion.
Well, I'm gonna add it to my list.
It's 267 pages. Like,
oh, perfect! It's right up my alley with the bad cowboy mafia.
Exactly.
Romances.
Like it's a quick in and out. Like it's. I
this
gave it a 4
sounds
star.
good.
It's a 4-star. Like if you want a palette cleanser and you're okay with no smut, like put this on your list. Put the pumpkin in a patch and this on your list. And the next book comes out in January. I just feel like it was like a really cute read.
I'm excited about it.
I liked it. I really was like here for it.
I mean, this is.
It sounds like a Hallmark movie, but like not bad.
I watched a really questionable Hallmark movie. Wait,
they're so bad that they're good.
She's from the small town. She goes to the Big Apple, okay, to be a fashion designer.
Oh, God.
Her apartment floods right before Christmas. She's also entered into a fashion competition at Warwick's, which I assume is just like Bloomingdale's or like Barney's probably. And the prompt is like making like a line, like a little like line for like the everyday person. But she's like, hello, I make luxury fashion.
Oh, God.
And the guy's like, well, that's not the prompt. So she's like, perfect time for me to go back home to the small town. Because like I can like be around, you know, people, the everyday person, not the big city folk. And also my apartment has no water because whatever. So she goes back to her small town. She rear ends this guy. He's the mechanic. This is a Hallmark movie, by the way, not a book. She rear ends this guy. He's the mechanic in town. He's a new mechanic in town. He's like, all the single ladies in town are like salivating over him. He moved to town because his wife died. So like he's like, I don't want all this female attention. And first of all, every time she sees him, she makes fun of him for wearing coveralls. Like, I don't know, like whatever. It's like that's important to the plot. And her ex-fiance is now the town mayor. Okay. So her ex-fiance is town mayor. He's like, I don't want to deal with all this attention. They like form like a friendship, and like she's like, oh, just like pretend like that like we're together so the women leave you alone, and like my ex-fiance thinks like that I'm like not hung up on him. Her dad like is dead, and she brings like, I think he was a mechanic too. So she brings up like his truck. I don't know, whatever. The mechanic somehow finds like her dad's like truck, like gets it for her. She finds her dad's coveralls in the truck. And anyway, so she goes on and designs like a line of like plaid coveralls for the whole family. That's like her submission to this like fashion competition. And she wins it based on these horrific plaid coveralls. I've never said coveralls so many times in my life. And so she wins the competition, and the guy from Warwick's calls her and is like, you won. And she's like, I'm so sorry I had to leave, but like I had to be with my family for Christmas. And he's like, this is the kind of person we want, somebody who puts family first. And he's like, I want to offer you a job here full time, like designing for our everyday people. And she's like, I can only take the job if I can do it remotely. And like, I'll come into the city like once in a while. And he's like, yeah, that's totally fine. Her small town, this whole time I'm like, it must be in Vermont or like New Hampshire or like out like Midwest somewhere. She was in Connecticut the whole time. In fucking Connecticut the whole time, ma'am. And her whole family is like, I can't believe you would leave. You never come visit. You never come see. Like, you're a train ride away.
You're literally a train ride away. Hold on. Speaking of Christmas movies, I will solely always watch.
I also read Coach.
Oh, yeah.
By Daphne Perry. Sorry. I got really into the Hallmark movie. Okay. So I read the last book that I read Coach by Daphne Perry. This is like such like a long episode for us, actually. I kind of am like loving this. Okay.
Same.
And we already talked about Daphne Perry. I fucking loved Coach.
Oh, Coach was fucking amazing.
I gave it 5 stars. I loved it.
It was so fucking good.
Like, okay.
Single dad.
Single
dad.
Should I
keep going?
Single dad. Okay, so when I went in, I don't know why. I was like, I thought they were in like their late 30s, early 40s. I thought that it was high school football coach. Mm-mm. And then I find out that they're like in their 30s. Mm-hmm. And like, so the whole time I'm like, oh my God.
It's
like,
people.
Ford is so hot.
Chef's kiss, if you will.
I love him.
He was amazing.
I loved Millie. I loved like the whole plot. The ex-wife was was like annoying, but like not
Yes.
like to the point where I was like, why? Like,
yeah,
she didn't really cause like
too much drama.
I thought that there was going to be more drama. The drama was actually more with like the job than it had anything to do with like whatever. I loved these two. The epilogue was so great 7 years later. Like
like everyone, in my opinion, should read Coach.
I'm actually mad it took me that long to read it.
It's so good.
I've been like putting it off for some reason because I think Teddy Hamilton does the audio, and I was like, do I want to listen or read?
The audio is amazing.
I read it. It was a great experience. Again, Daphne Perry, you can't go wrong. We've been saying that the entire episode. I do want to touch on one more thing, and then you can tell me about the movie. So I've been doing my reread of Throne of Glass. I'm almost halfway through the tandem read. You know what? I'll save this for when I'm done. I'll save my thoughts.
Sure?
Yeah, because we're already at over an hour.
I was literally just gonna say my go-to. Like, I will 100% for Hallmark movies. I'll probably watch whatever, but like I always watch a Candace Cameron Bure movie.
Yeah,
I love her, and I will say there was one made a few years back. She was in Vampire Diaries. Kat Graham, her name is. I think it's like the advent calendar.
It's on Netflix.
It's actually really good.
It's really good. It's an advent calendar. She's so cute. He's so cute.
I love it.
The calendar is like magic.
Yeah, it's so cute. There are some hidden gems in there. Hold on. There's got to be a way to.
I was looking up. Okay, wait. So today I was looking up like the Hallmark movie. I love watching bad movies, and there's one. It's called A Norwegian Christmas. While Kay looks it up, and I'm just gonna read you one sentence that like is describing like the plot of what it's about. And it says, their connection deepens when he discovers she has a troll figurine from his hometown.
Trolls?
Troll.
Okay.
She goes to this is like
the holiday calendar.
The holiday calendar. We should have been able to guess that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what this Hallmark movie is about. It's coming out, I don't know, I think like next week. And it's called A Norwegian Christmas. It has her grandma dies and she goes to Norway. And then this guy's like, oh my God, that troll figurine from my hometown. And then they fall in love. So I'll be watching and I'll be recapping.
We should talk about our Hallmark movie extravaganzas. There's a couple that I do love.
No, there are some that are really good, but I think like the worse they are, the better.
Agree. But sometimes I do love a surprise good one.
Yeah. Okay.
We're done. Oh yeah, let's decide. Well,
we have it. Katie's like, let's decide.
No. Hold on. Before you do that, okay, you know what? We'll talk calendar first.
Okay, calendar next week. Wreck the Halls by Tessa Bailey. The
So
13th,
good.
Spilling the Tea. Good old fashioned Spilling the Tea. The 20th, In Holidays by Christina Lauren. The 27th, Yearly Roundup.
Love it.
Yes.
Now, drum roll, please. Keep refreshing Instagram. We're going to post something tomorrow. We are going to be doing 12 days of bookish giveaways starting in December. We will be posting every other day.
Every other day starting on December 1st.
Yep.
So if, every odd number.
If you will. Yeah, so just keep on the lookout. The giveaway will only be open for 24 hours.
Yeah,
or 48.
No, 24.
24, okay.
So we'll post the first giveaway on the 1st. The winner will be announced in the post on the 3rd for the next giveaway.
Yep.
So 24 hours, Katie, because 48 would not work.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Because we have to pick the winner.
Before we make the post. You only have 24 hours to post. They're going to be super easy rules. It's going to be like and comment type of things. Like nothing crazy over here.
Yeah. And some giveaways are going to be better than others.
Yeah.
But I think they're all good. It's all things that we use and that we like. So like some things are like tabs and stuff. Some things are books. Some things are book adjacent. You just have to wait and see. But keep an eye out on Instagram for all updates as usual. That is all we have for you this week. If you're stuck around this whole time, I'm really sorry for the way that I described the first 3 books that I read. Like and comment. Like, comment, follow for part 2. Bye.